Hi there. Are you struggling to find the perfect math solution for your hands-on learner? In this video, I'm going to share with you how CTC Math transformed our homeschool experience and how you can pair CTC Math with everyday hands-on manipulatives to make learning easier for your hands-on learner. If you have a child who learns best through hands-on activities, or you always find them playing with Legos, maybe they're outside swinging a stick all the time, traditional math programs might not feel like they work for you because your child who is a hands-on learner needs hands-on experiences. It can feel like a foreign language for a child to learn through traditional curriculum when they really, really need the opportunity to touch, feel, move things around. Most traditional math curriculum cater to visual and auditory learners. That means you have a child who enjoys reading and might enjoy learning by listening. But if you have a hands-on learner, they really need the opportunity to touch and feel and experience their learning while they're manipulating the numbers on paper or on the computer. It's really challenging. So there is a way to take your traditional curriculum, CTC Math, and pair it with some really simple manipulatives, and math will come alive for them. It's going to be so much easier. That's how it's been in our home. Um, as you can see, we use CTC Math in our home and we have loved it. We've used it for probably 3 years now. As a mom, I love it because it has removed a lot of the stress of preparing a lesson, finding the workbook. They literally just turn it on and it's right at the place where they need to be. You can set up the lessons either to work at grade level, or you can kind of create your own curriculum and pick and choose what you want your child to learn. So it's really flexible, and you can even print off worksheets. So my kids have loved it. I have 3 kids using it, one in first grade, one in fourth grade, and one in eighth grade, and it's working great for all of them. All right, so let's say you have a hands-on child, like I do, who really needs something more tactile for their math. So you start with your math curriculum, you start with CTC Math, and then you're going to pair it with things like an abacus, or you're going to pair it with things like a clock. You're going to pair it with things like these counting blocks, right? Or even with something like play money. My daughter loves to use the cash register and she goes around and labels she puts prices on food, and then we sit there and we add up how much does this can of green beans that you've made $8 plus this bag of pasta that's now $10. How much is 8 plus 10? And she will give me the money from the cash register, and um, you know, get to manipulate the actual dollars herself. So I have found that with a hands-on learner, the numbers on the screen are great. It's totally fine. But when they run into something that doesn't make sense, they really, really need a few hands-on things at their fingertips. So that's why we actually do keep this basket of counting blocks and a clock and the abacus, the cash register. We keep them nearby. And when we're running into a very tactile experience, we pull them out, right? We don't use them every day. But when they are having a hard time translating an experience, trying to understand um, what these numbers mean, what these coins mean, the how to read a clock, it's really helpful to have some really practical simple tools at the ready. You don't need to go buy them then. You just have these handful of things ready, and it kind of makes life so much easier. So when my son, Bob, first started using math, first started doing math, like back in first grade, or even kindergarten. Actually, we didn't even do it in kindergarten because he would get so stressed out. But when he did it in first grade, he would start crying. Like he could read, but he would fall apart and he would just start crying. But when we added manipulatives to our homeschool curriculum for him, all of a sudden he didn't get stressed out by adding 3 plus 7 because he had something to count, right? Now, if it's small numbers that add up to 10, right? We have our handy dandy counters right here. But when you start getting bigger numbers and you have a child that needs to add two larger numbers, this is where these counting blocks can come in really handy, because an abacus or counting blocks, this can make it so much easier for them to have like physical manipulatives to count. So we use those all the time. And once he could visualize and touch what he was learning, all the tears went away. All right. Now, you may have an older child that doesn't need little counting blocks and clocks. Maybe you have an older child that's trying to understand um, more real life, real world experience, where you can take what they're learning in CTC math and you can pair it with whatever they need to learn right now. This is the magic for older kids. Okay. If you have a child that doesn't understand something like budgeting, we'll use budgeting. If you have a child that doesn't understand budgeting, chances are they need to earn some money. Okay. And once they earn some money, now they have tangible dollars and they can put it in each of the categories. Yes, you can use play money. It's much harder with teenagers to get them to buy into the play money idea. But if you have a kid that will, great. Otherwise, use their money, right? Use the money that they're earning at their job and physically get the money from the bank and put it in different categories. If you have a hands-on learner, they need that. Every kid isn't going to need that. Every child, every teenager doesn't. But if you have a child that needs that hands-on extra experience, I highly recommend getting some extra manipulatives, the real life components that will make this make sense to your child. In that way, when you're using CTC Math, you have the opportunity to have the ease of having a wonderful computer-based curriculum with those 3 to 5 minute lessons that are so easy. Plus, your child that's a hands-on learner is going to benefit by having the tactile experience that they need. Now, if you've never tried CTC Math, I highly recommend that you give it a shot. You can get a free trial at the link below. And that's actually how I started. I had heard all these people talking about it. I have tried all the different math curriculum. And at this season of life, I needed something that was going to take a burden off. And I didn't want to have to find workbooks everywhere. And I don't know. I just needed life to be simpler. So we gave CTC Math a shot, and it has worked so beautifully for years. And that's why we're still using it. So I highly recommend giving it a shot. Try the free trial below. And if you have a child that struggles with reading problems, CTC Math can work for you. If you have a child that gets stressed out easily over math, can work for you. So check out the links below to my other blog posts where I talk about other reasons why you might enjoy using CTC Math. If you have ever used it, I'd love to hear from you. If you never have, I'd love to hear from you as well. Thanks for joining me today. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below.